Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dan and today we'll be doing my best books of 2024. Let's get going. Yes, I know it's been delayed, quite literally delayed, but at least it's better than never, so let's get going. Honestly, I feel like I've read a pretty good amount of 4 stars. I think there were like maybe 2 or 3 books that were actually 5 stars, which is kind of pretty interesting for me. I really gave out 5 stars, but who knows, maybe I'll have some this year, although my reading is not going well. I barely read any books this month. It's all on audio, so honestly, I think I'm actually burned out from reading. So there's that. Also, I keep meaning to mention this in the vlog, but if you guys haven't noticed, I haven't done my December wrap-up. I don't think I'm not going to. I only listened to 3 books and that's about it, so there's really no point in making a December wrap-up because of that, so I'm not gonna do it. And honestly, I don't think I'm gonna be making February TBR just because of how my reading is going. So, yeah. It is what it is at this point, but hopefully I'll be able to read something physically sometime soon. I don't know when. But, yeah, I think I am burnt out. So, yeah. Let's get going. So the first 4-star book was The Scarlet Alchemist by Kylie Lee Baker. Stella dreams of becoming a royal alchemist, of providing for her family by making alchemical gold and gems for the wealthy to eat in order to stay young forever. But for now, she's trapped in her impoverished village in southern China, practicing a lingua form of alchemy to keep food on the table, risking the dead for a prize. Also, I'm gonna go through this quite quickly. I have a lot of books to talk about, so if you want to hear my thoughts completely, you can check out my monthly wrap-ups. But yeah. So yeah, I really liked this book. I really loved the writing, and it was so vivid, and I loved the storytelling. So I thought the plot and the world building was pretty cool, and the magic system was also quite something I really enjoyed as well. And I think the characters seemed fine. They didn't really seem quite overbearing as most characters are in YA these days are. So it was actually just a fun read, and I really enjoyed it. I liked the lore and the powers they had to go through. I think the trials could have been a little bit better, but honestly, it was just a really fun read, so I honestly quite enjoyed this. And my next 4-star book is Curious Ties by Pascal Lascelles. So this is a teen mage who must unravel the truth behind a secret society that may have been involved in her classmate's death. And so I actually quite like this. I think I actually gave it like a 4.5, but as you can see, I ran out of notes to write, so sticky notes comes in handy. So again, this was such a fun read. I liked the mystery behind it, and I liked the world building as well. The author did, honestly, I thought the author did a good job explaining the world and loved the settings of the book. It was dark and creepy and atmospheric, so I really liked that. And reading about the Tide Caller was also fascinating, so I kind of liked the lore behind it, as well as the magic system as well. Emily, she could have been better. She was still annoying to me, and yeah, honestly, I thought the ending was okay. They'll leave it like a cliffhanger, but I think the epilogue could have been more fleshed out. It kind of felt like it was in a hurry. So, it was, the ending could have, honestly could have been better, but yeah, but it was still a fun read as well. My next book is Moonlight and the Pole's Daughter by Lizzie Pook. So this is a feminist adventure story set against the backdrop of the dangerous pole diving industry in 19th century Western Australia, about a young English woman who sets out to uncover the truth about the disappearance of her eccentric father. So this was also a beautiful read too, with the suspenseful story and fast-paced. The writing was beautiful and often darkly poetic. I liked Eliza, who stood out in the book. She was still who knew what she wanted. I like how the author showed the exploitation of the pearl industry and how it depended on the indigenous people. And I thought of the majors such as the island. So I like the atmosphere of the majors, such as the island, flora and fauna. I like the ending. since I just thought it was suitable. My next book is Wild is the Witch by Rachel Griffin. Iris Gray accidentally enacts a curse that could have dire consequences. She must team up with the boy who hates witches to make sure her magic isn't unleashed on the world. So I gave this a 4 stars. I thought it was really nice. I actually quite enjoyed the book. I love the creativity and the magical aspect of the book. That was just like this cute owl. It was always such a cute owl, so it was really nice. It did almost make me cry. So there were some scenes that kind of pulled on my heart. I'm like, oh no. But I also quite like the magic system in the book. Like, you know, like if you're a Luna witch, you work with animals, or if you're a Stella, your magic will be gravitated towards plant. I like how the magic was being justified, because in the book you actually needed to work with magic. So honestly, that was really creative, and I really liked the magic system. And there were some things that were like believable, like how the actions of the characters. I thought that was believable towards the book, and like honestly, the atmosphere is like so vivid and rich. And so honestly, but like the one thing I wish was like the plot itself to be more complex, and for the book to be longer, since I think the book could have been gone more in depth because of how the author created such a rich world. So honestly, I think it was still a really cool read. And my next book is Looking for Jane by Hannah Marshall. And it's about 3 women whose lives are bound together by a long-lost letter, a mother's love, and a secret network of women fighting for the right to choose. So again, I did enjoy reading this book. I thought it had a heavy topic to which is abortion. I thought the author had written the topic in such a good way, and it kind of, you know, not insulting, offensive, so I thought she handled it really well. This book is also explored about the post-war era maternity home system. Despite how it had a heavy topic, the writing and the characters made the tone lighter, while having sweetness to the characters and the dialogue. I also liked the pacing. It was moving, and I thought the author did a good job at how she told the struggles about the women in the past and the choices for women's rights, love, and motherhood. And my next book is Mistress by Nadine Blandez. So basically, she has powers. While she cries, she can grant out powers and wishes. But the important thing is she can't cry because of what her power is. So it was actually a pretty cool storyline. It was like quite an interesting book, though I do think it was a bit slow paced. I think it's interesting with the magic system. So again, if she cries, she makes a wish. And because of that, there are evil people that want that power, so they're kind of like running after her because of that power. So it did remind me of like Cinderella, since her grandmother used a mirth for her selfish needs. I think Bastian was okay. He didn't really thrill me by that much, though his power was also really cool from what I can remember. And I did like Runt. Like, he was actually really adorable, and he was quite nice addition to the book. And I think the world building could have been a lot better. I kind of had vague ideas of where they were, so. And I'm not sure how to feel the ending. Like, if I could change one thing in the book, it would probably be the ending. From what I can remember, it wasn't quite suitable, or like, it didn't wrap up nicely, I should say. Cause, like, I don't know, there was just something about it, was like, that's the ending. So, I don't know how to feel about it. Like, the ending could have been so much better. And my next book is A Touch of Chaos by Scarlett St. Clair. So, Persephone, goddess of spring, never guessed a chance encounter with Hades, god of the underworld, would change her forever, but it did. A fight for humanity and battles between gods, and a war Persephone never thought she would see. To end the chaos, she must draw her darkness and embrace who she's become. Goddess, wife, queen of the underworld. Once Persephone made bargains with those she loves, now she will go to war for them. And so I am really enjoying this. It was such a fun read, and so that's why I give it a 4 stars. I think it was a good conclusion to the scene. However, I do think some places were rushed. I like the fight scenes, even though they were short, but the lead-ups in between was long. Like, leading up to the final fight shouldn't really be that long as to how she did it, so and it's kind of annoying just waiting for that particular scene only. There was also a chapter with the labyrinth and like the plotting of the funeral games, but like the actual games only happened in like 4 pages, so like there's just really any point then. So that could have been explored way more, so just because like the games sounded really interesting. But I also feel like the Analysis and Ariadne storyline wasn't finished, like what happened with the baby. And I think like the storyline also came too late, like they weren't really completely fleshed out. So there was a lot of things that could have been better in the book, but I still think it was like a pretty good conclusion regardless. It was fun, it was sassy, like I think the characters were just so update because they knew what's gonna happen. But yeah, I had fun reading. And my next book is A Kingdom of Back by Mary Lou. Born with the gift for music, Natalie Mozart has just one wish, to be remembered forever, but as she delights audience with her masterful playing, she has little hope she will ever become the acclaimed composer she longs to be. She is a young woman in 18th century Europe, and that means composing is forbidden to her. She will only perform until she reaches a marriageable age. Her tyrannical father has made that much clear. So I was really intrigued to learn more about the Mozart, and like they had like such a nice bond together. I think the sisters, I think like the stars of how Mary Lou was nicely done. Like the story like was nicely done, even though I don't really know much about them. But the fantasy parts wasn't different, and some pieces didn't really like it didn't really quite make sense to put fantasy in them. I don't think that was necessary, but yeah, it was just a really nice book. And I like how Mary, despite being turned into a musical tale, and like how Mary added so much depth to the story despite being turned into a magical tale. So I like how she added more of it, so it was really nice. My next book is Rise of the Vicious Princess by C.J. Red Ryan. This is the first in the YA political fantasy trilogy about a fierce princess determined to bring lasting peace to her kingdom regardless of the cost to her heart. So yeah, I gave it a 4 stars. The story begins right at the action, and the book ended off a major cliffhanger. I didn't really like Travis, since it was so it repeated that this princess was so vicious and powerful, but it just kind of was annoying to read. So like you have to show us where it is. So it kind of got started really repetitive. So the one thing I cared about the character though, like that she actually cared about her citizens and how she actually wanted to fight for them. So that was actually really nice. But yeah, I think like if you take out like some of the repetitiveness of the book, it would be good, but it was just kind of annoying me. My next book is Song of the Six Realms by Judy Yalin. Zhu, a talented young musician, has no past and probably no future. Often at a young age, her kindly poet uncle took her in and arranged for an apprenticeship in one of the most esteemed entertainment houses in the kingdom. She doesn't remember much from before entering the House of Kingdom of Flowing Water, and when her uncle is suddenly killed in a bandit attack, she is devastated to lose her last connection to her life outside and off-white, and then to her contract. So I really did like the world building, but I think it was also focused on it a little bit too much. It was like kind of highlighting details about celestial beings, giving them unique stories, but it ended up being irrelevant to the story. I never felt detached from the characters. I think Zhu's curious and courageous are good. The writing is flowery, which is something I don't really like. But the plot was okay because of the shadow world building kind of thing. The plot didn't make of it through until 30%, and the ending, I think the ending was okay. So it wasn't really too confusing, I guess. So it seems suitable. My next book is Seven Faceless Saints by M.K. Long. In the city of Ablasia, saints and their disciples rule with terrifying and unjust power, playing famous while the unfavored struggle to survive. So the book was quite intriguing, and the world building as well. I wish there was more about the saints because those were just fascinating. They really were. The mystery was great, and I liked the setting of the book, and nothing was really complicated. and I liked how the world building was explained, and the magic system was also intriguing. And I wanted more of the story to show more about the disciplines with different powers. The characters seemed decent, even though I didn't really like Kite Wars, but they were kind of bearable enough for me to actually finish the book, so that's that. And my next book is The Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Brazil. Why save the world when you can have some tea? On the streets of White Walling, Arthur Casimir is a criminal mastermind of collective secrets, and her prestigious team transforms into an illegal bloodhouse by dog, catering to the vampires feared by society. But when her establishment is threatened, Arthur is forced to strike an unlikely deal with an alluring adversary to save it, and she can't do the job alone. So I quite enjoyed the writing, and the pacing was fast, like it was really fast. I thought it was interesting with the setting the author had used, which was a tea house by day and a bloodhouse by night, but we didn't really see much of it, which is kind of disappointing. But the MCR theme was a bit hard to connect to just because she didn't open up until the end of the book. There were a lot of things where it was overly explained, which I find that it wasn't really necessary. The execution could have been better, and the magic system could also be properly explained. And the plot was interesting, though it did drag at times, but again, it was a cool read, quite unique, so I really want to read a sequel. And my next one is A Tribe of Sorcerers by Eliza Culver. 18-year-old water-bonded Ira Landon lives a life in the shadows, the shadow for all the bundle of her magic whispers of the person she accidentally killed. She's the most unwanted apprentice in the Tower of Sorcerers until the nation decides to stamp out and compete for a spot in a tournament of 5 kingdoms. So I think this is like a spin-off series of some book, Awaken, or something like that. I have to check, but you can still read these books without reading the original series, but I think, like, I'm not sure if these two characters were from that series. I really think it's called Awaken, but again, I have to check. But yeah, I liked the world building, the plot, and the magic system was great. I did like the friendship between Ira and Alice and how they understood each other. They weren't really forcing them like, hey, you can't do this or you can't be that. They weren't toxic, which is such a fun thing to read about relationships, about friends, so I really liked that a lot. The magic system was nice. I really like how she had ice powers. Elsa. I'm just kidding, but it was so fun, so I really want to read a sequel. It's taking me such a long time to read a sequel, but I'm hoping I'll get there eventually. My next book is Of Jade and Dragons by Emma Chen. 18-year-old Ai Hui Yang dreams of becoming a world-class engineer like her father, but after his sudden murder, her lives fall apart. Left with only a journal of her father's engineering secrets and a jade pendant snatched from the assassin, a heartbroken Yang follows a trial to the capital in the prestigious Engineers Guild, a place to harvest her father's hidden past and determined to discover why, and with a man who ultimately chose a quiet life over fame and fortune. And this was so cool to read. I quite enjoy like the aspects of the engineering skills. So it was quite interesting how the author weaved that right in. So I really like to read that part of quite a lot. It was such enjoyable, so that was pretty cool. So I did like the fantasy setting was combined with like a steampunk atmosphere. There wasn't really like any actual dragons, but I still liked the book. I thought the world building was fine, even though I wanted more of it, but I think it was fine the way how it is. One thing bringing is that she didn't seem to mind her father, and she cared she cared kind of more about the city, and like how come she wasn't really shocked by the culture? Because she doesn't seem like she traveled outside of where she came from, so like how is she not shocked by the city? So that was kind of like a weird thing, but it was a pretty cool read. Like I quite really enjoyed the engineering aspects. So it was like honestly nicely done. And my next book is The Lost Bookshelf by Amy Woods. The thing about books, she said, is that they help you to imagine life bigger and better than you can ever dream of. But on a quiet street in Dublin, a lost bookshelf is waiting to be found. For too long, Opaline, Martha, and Henry have been the side characters in their own lives. But when the vanishing bookshop casts a spell, these three unsuspecting strangers will discover that their own stories are every bit extraordinary as the ones found in the pages of the beloved books, and by unlocking the secrets of the shelves, they find themselves transported to a world of wonder where nothing as it seems. This is like really cool. It was like a magical realism, but they weren't really explored enough, and there were some things that didn't really make sense. What happened to Bolden? I was confused as to what she is. I did like the mystery from the plot, and there were some things that made the book drag on for quite a bit. The next book is Silver in the Bone by Alexandra Bracken. By Celtic lore, the tale of teenage girl who seeks her destiny in the cursed spirits of Avalon, driven by love, revenge, and pure adrenaline. I thought the author could have used the tale of Arthur a little bit better. She only used the Isle of Avalon as a setting and the death of King Arthur as a plot device, and that was pretty much it. I wish there was more of it. I love the magic system, and the characters seemed entertaining for what it is, as well as the twists. The twists were quite interesting. I'm not sure how to feel about them yet, but these seem to me pretty decent. And my next book is The Night Ends With Fire by KX Song. It's a sweet fantasy adventure inspired by the legend of Lon follows a young woman determined to choose her own destiny, even if that means going against everything she loves. So I really enjoyed this read. It had dark magic, mythological aspects, political rituals, and more. The romance was okay. It did feel forced and distracting, but I liked the relationship between stepmother and Miriam. I liked the dark magic and the visions of the sea dragon spirit that had led up to the tension of the book. I think the reveal of really true. I didn't think. Okay, this really bothered me. That reveal could have been so much better. And honestly, I felt like that it should not belong to that spot. How the author had written it the way it did, it could have been so yeah, the reveal of her identity could have been so much better, and honestly could have. And my next book is Dark Star Burning, Ash Falls White by Emily Manziel. So this is a sequel to Song of Silver Flame and Light. It's a limiting white and fantasy inspired by mythology and folklore of ancient China. So I think this book was good, and for the duology, the ending itself was also pretty good. I did like the magic and the setting, and the ending did feel bittersweet. There was also a lot of info dumping which could have been left aside for the first book, honestly. And I think this book was not enough to get through everything that was going on. The war should have at least been a part of the end of the first book. I did like the description and the beautiful images, and the black tortoise was quite an intriguing idea. And my final book is The Sacrifice by Lynn Chapeko. An island Osea is turned deadly when a terrifying legend threatens to kill off visitors one by one in this haunting novel. So I loved spookiness and the atmosphere of the book. The characters seemed to be fine, and I loved the lore and the story of how it was interweaved. And the creatures were quite interesting, and the history and the story that had many twists that I quite liked. And one thing I generally like is how it took one danger for the director to realize hey, it's actually true. So honestly, I just hate that everything is for the money and fame, but not really caring about the safety of others people. So honestly, it's not worth fame and money if you have to put someone in danger. It's really not worth it. But yeah, other than that part, I did really enjoy the story itself. So those were all the best books I had for last year. So honestly, I think I did a pretty good job of giving the 4 stars, 5 stars-ish. And so honestly, that was a really good thing for me, because it's kind of rare for me to give such high ratings. So yeah, well, let me know what are your best books of last year, and please like, comment, subscribe so you'll be notified every time I post. I will see you on my next one. Bye!